2 weeks ago, I received an invitation from a very dear and trusted friend of mine, the former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. She invited me to give a talk at Stanford at a time that conflicts with this very function. There I was, Stanford, CMC. And I remember an old Arab poet, Abu Tammam, Professor Frangia. He lived about 1,000 years ago, I think. And he said, نقل فؤادك حيث شئت من الهوى ما الحب إلا للحبيب الأولي. Let your heart float and drift in the sea of passion. There is no love but the first love. President Gant, CMC was my first love, and today I'm here to prove it. President Gant, members of Board of Trustees, my teachers and faculties, honored guests, but most importantly, my fellow CMC students. I'm truly privileged and honored to be here today to receive such a wonderful recognition from my alma mater. But to tell you the truth, the real honor that I received from CMC was 32 years ago, when I received a bachelor's with honors in economics, and I was a salvatory scholar. I got an award for the best undergraduate senior thesis in economics. I have the check of $500 to prove it. And it's a thesis that unfortunately I cannot get hold of. It's lost somewhere at Bauer Center. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to get hold of my thesis. That is truly the true honor that I received 32 years ago. I don't know about you, President Pamela. I don't know about Duke, but Harvard PhD was a piece of cake relative to CMC requirements for honors in economics. CMC did not only empower me with the power of knowledge. CMC instilled in me an insatiable desire and appetite for excellence and a drive for perfection. So thank you, CMC, for that. Also, I would like to thank CMC for awarding me this diploma, and then 2 weeks later will be awarding my son a diploma, which makes him a classmate of mine. A father can never ask for more. But most importantly, I thank CMC for honoring me twice in 2 different centuries. That's a record. I would like to think that you are not honoring me only, but also that you are honoring the culture that shaped my values and enabled me to be here today with you. I would like to think that you are honoring my small, beautiful, peace-loving country, Kuwait. Half a century ago, we gained our independence from Britain. Our first decision then was to embark on a strategy that we called the Triple B, and that is building bridge building business. We were in the bridge building business. Now what that means, we were involved in bridging and building bridges between poor and rich, east and west, present and future. One of the most basic, intrinsic and existential strategy for post-independence Kuwait is to be a global citizen. The most effective way to support this strategy was to create Kuwait Fund in December of '61, only 3 months after our independence. I mean, this was the first thing that we did, was to create the Kuwait Fund. And I should report with pride that the first general director of the Kuwait Fund was a CMC alumni, Abdul Latif Al-Hamad. He ran that program for 30 years. And I can quote what Robert McNamara, the former president of the World Bank, said in 1968, and he wrote, "When first established in '61, the Kuwait Fund was without president. Here was Kuwait, a tiny country, until recently among the poorest places on earth, establishing a development fund in the year of its political independence. While welcoming its newfound prosperity, it was declaring a willingness to share its future wealth with its neighbors." That's what McNamara wrote about Kuwait. Half a century later, the Kuwait Fund have extended its operation to more than 100 countries around the world. As Pamela indicated, 104 countries around the world, which makes it the largest development assistance institution after the World Bank. A fact that propelled Kuwait to be one of the most generous countries in the world, and certainly one of the most active players in the field of development, and a fervent warrior against hunger, poverty, and underdevelopment. As with the East and West bridges, since our independence, Kuwait firmly decided to adopt a positive neutrality in the East-West ideological divide. Kuwait was the first Gulf country to establish diplomatic ties with the USSR then and the People's Republic of China. However, with the fall of Berlin Wall and the collapse of the bipolar world, Kuwait did not lose its bearings. In fact, Kuwait recalibrated its foreign policy coordinates to be well entrenched in the safe harbor of international law and legitimacy. To be sure, the Iraqi aggression against Kuwait solidified our total and categorical commitments and adherence to the rule of law and the behavior of a global citizenry. From the plains of Kosovo to Nagorno-Karabakh to Abkhazia to the dangerous quicksands of the Middle East peace process and the Iranian nuclear file, Kuwait has taken a very confident and assured and secure position, well entrenched in the bunkers of international legitimacy. As with respect to the third bridge that we built, and that is between the present and the future, recognizing that Kuwait's wealth is overwhelmingly concentrated in inexhaustible form, the ruler of Kuwait decided in the early 50s to diverse Kuwait's wealth portfolio more in favor of financial wealth. Therefore, Kuwait created the first sovereign wealth fund in the world in the mid-50s, located in London, and it's called Kuwait Investment Office. In 1976, we created the Fund for a Future Generation, that encompasses the whole operation of the KIO. And I'm here again, proud to report that the first director of the Fund for Future Generation was Dr. Fahd al-Rashid, who graduated with PhD from graduate school, Claremont Graduate School. This revolutionary idea of taxing current generation in favor of their unborn grandchildren is a testimony to the far-sightedness of the Kuwaiti leadership. The idea is to generate enough financial resources to enable the post-oil generation to create a viable and sustainable economy. To help facilitate this long-term structural transformation of our economy, Kuwait has just embarked on a very ambitious development plan, which is going to make us spend about $150 billion over the next 4 years. And I would encourage our American friends to participate in this development project. Pamela, we certainly have difficult names to pronounce. And we dress differently. We put a cloth on our heads and we wear a very fluffy dress. But you can count always on Kuwait to be a solid friend to CMC and to Claremont and to the United States. Thank you very much for such honor.
Thank you for those wonderful remarks, Your Excellency. And thank all of you for being here today. We have someone we honored. As he said, his greatest honor was to come here and graduate with honors from our college. That set him off into his future in economics and public affairs. We are delighted that your son, Uej, will be graduating here in just a few days as well. And we thank that you have honored us with a wonderful delegation from the state of Kuwait. We are really, really honored to have so many of you have such distinction to be here today with His Excellency. So in closing, I want to thank all of our distinguished faculty, students, and staff, trustees, members of the Claremont Colleges for helping us celebrate today in awarding the Honorary Doctor of Laws degree to His Excellency, Sheikh Dr. Mohammad Al-Sabah. Thank you very much.